Buddy to the stream and or VOD. If you guys enjoy this kind of content, be sure to hit like and subscribe to jump into the conversation while we're having it live. We're going to be live reacting to the August dev update already over at newworld.com. They've got this kind of posted and in summary, and ideally I'll break that down and actually post that over on Ginger World Gaming for you if you haven't seen that channel. It's my New World focused channel, but today I'm so freaking excited to see what is next. This is the Great Sword. This is Brimstone Sands. This is also most likely going to be paired with marketing, budget, so much information and so much detail to push. Now tomorrow I'm actually going to be hanging out with Danny. He's already actually had hands on with it, so we're going to talk about his experience, what he's excited about. And already guys, there's such an energy when it comes to this game and its future that, personally speaking, obviously I'm biased, obviously I just really connect with what New World is doing in a way that has been just completely surprising for me as a gamer. And so without further ado, guys, we're going to react. If you guys haven't ever seen my reaction, we will be pausing, we'll be discussing, and that's where we're going to go from there. I'll include a link in the description to the original video if you just want to go watch it for yourself. And thanks so much for being here. Let's buckle up and let's see what's in the store for the future of New World. The August update. We've been waiting all month for this one.
Hi everyone, welcome to the August developer update. As you can see, Tina's not here today, so we're going to do things a little bit different. It's going to be a group of us talking through everything together. First, though, I want to introduce the other people at the table with me. So we have Dan Henuber, who is our social experience lead. We have his partner in camouflage, Mike Willett, who is the world experience lead. And we have Katie, who's the live lead producer type person on the team. So anyway.
Nailed it.
Perfect.
All your
Stuck the landing.
perfect.
Yell at her.
Before we start, though, I want to touch base on a quick update. The Summer Medley Fair, we're going to actually run that until September 6th. Just so you all know, you have a little more time to get your Maudlin Haze and get up to the Maestro and get all the good goodies there.
On that note, I don't know why it decided to jump ahead, but I see also chat saying they haven't played since the launch, and we're like level 45. Honestly, this would be a really good opportunity to jump back into the game itself. The Summer Medley Fair is a blast to play, especially if you're at level 45. It's just a quest that takes you at level 20. Truly a really good experience. Introducing musical instruments. They have really refined a lot of the key game. But I wonder though, I wonder if my recommendation will change after watching this, if it ends up being like, it's better to wait for October. But being that the game has a player-driven economy, your time and investment in the game and the world actually, I think, pays off in the long run. Anyway, let's take it away, Scott.
The Summer Medley Fair, we're going to actually run that until September 6th. Just so you all know, you have a little more time to get your Maudlin Haze and get up to the Maestro and get all the good goodies there. Today we're going to talk about the next update,
which it's so beautiful.
The Brimstone Sands update that is coming in October. We're pretty excited about this. It is a massive update. We're also going to do a little bit of a dive into territory management and progress we're making toward that and how we're thinking about it.
Holy crap!
We're going to talk about the PTR rollout plan for the Brimstone update. And then we're going to sign off. So without further ado, I'm going to start us with a dive into the upcoming update.
You guys see that? Did you guys see that? The question now I wonder is like, are we upgrading these territories? Like we have been upgrading these territories at, like within the different stations, but what they just showed off, like here, yeah, check it out.
We're also going to do a little bit of a dive into territory.
Wow. Holy crap. Is that player driven? I don't know, but if it is player driven, holy freaking there. We'll do this. Holy and holy, yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. I want to see here. Some chat says, see here, I stopped playing at level 30. I got bored because the missions were crap at the time. Zero character development on the NPC, or the story was like, meh. Now, there are some really interesting cutscenes they have actually introduced later. If you actually finish the main MSQ, I personally hope that we see them bring some of that design and style earlier on, because the story, personally speaking, is actually very interesting. There's a lot of little lore bits, and honestly, I keep being invited into trying to tell more of the New World story through my video content, and maybe I'll actually go ahead and just bite the bullet and just put the work in and get that done, because you have a lot of exposition, a lot of interesting lore in the pages alone, but not everybody's wanting story delivered that way. And the cutscene that they actually have play at the end of the Tempest dungeon, mwah, holy crap, dude. Like if they put that kind of design and cutscene in from, level 5, level 10, level 15. Like if all of a sudden the reward for continuing the MSQ was kind of this style of cutscene, I think a lot more people would connect into that aspect. But I would highly encourage you, if you guys have not, if you've been on a break, it's absolutely free to update the game and see all that has transpired, all that has been improved with the game itself. Now, I actually, over on Ginger World Gaming, which is my new world focused channel, I break down all the changes that have happened so far. We've obviously gotten new weapons, and really, I'm personally very excited to see the Great Sword. I'm hoping that they talk about that. If I just look at the chapters, upcoming update, progress and work, territory management, that's actually going to be real critical, and the PTR rollout plan. So I'm sure they're going to be talking about that here in a bit. Also, again, thanks guys for the likes here on the live stream. Really does help out these videos in the long run. Anyway, let's let him continue on. But guys, if this is player driven, if players are driving the upgrades to the various cities and towns, holy crap, man. Like that just makes that the game as a whole overall improve, as opposed to just having it only in Brimstone Sands, right? Like my only concern is that it ends up becoming top heavy, where it's like only the new content gets refreshed. Looks like this is actually going to be a massive update.
Management and progress we're making toward that, and how we're thinking about it. We're going to talk about the PTR rollout plan for the Brimstone update, and then we're going to sign off. So without further ado, I'm going to start us with a dive into the upcoming update. All right, we want to talk a little bit about the Brimstone update. We're not going to go too deep because in September we have some time reserved where we're going to really dive into that. But at a high level, Mike, do you want to give an overview of Brimstone, which is the anchor for the release?
Sure thing, Scott. So some background on it and the lore. An old Egyptian kingdom basically arose thousands of years ago in this area of Eternum, known as Brimstone Sands, and they had this symbiotic relationship with the ancients. And along the way, there was a big falling out and a war that occurred. No details to share yet. You're going to have to wait till the next update. But what happened is, almost 1,000 years later, the Roman legion arrived.
Yes,
and
Romans, baby.
They had some encounters with corruption, and that led to kind of the modern state where things are in disarray, and one of your old allies has now become a nemesis here on Eternum. And so part of that story has to play out in this brand new, almost 3 zones worth of content,
little Coliseum.
which is Brimstone Sands.
It is a big place.
It is a massive place. We have sulfur pools and new ancient artifacts and structures and brand new POIs and dozens of new enemies. It is an awesome place.
We want to leave some surprises.
Some surprises. I'm not going to dive into too many
super
details,
cool.
but there's some creatures there that are just like very good. Very good.
Oh,
Yeah, and it's just fun to have this massive, diverse zone. to
holy
run
crap,
around
that looks like a
nothing
dragon
like
in a way.
anything in the game right now.
Yeah.
We're really excited to share
look
that
at
with
that.
everybody. And I guess if you're going to be hanging out in this new zone with really tough enemies, you're going to need something to help you live there, right? A new weapon.
A new
yes.
weapon. What's that one that players have been asking
great sword. We also want daggers and lightning
sword.
magic.
about? I didn't like
Oh
that
no,
at
I'm sorry.
all.
Great
There
sword.
it is.
Totally messed that up. No, I know it's been long requested, and I've talked to the Daves about this at length, so some more teasers about it. It does scale evenly off of strength and dex, two-handed weapon.
strength and dex,
and allows
okay.
you to stand
Just like the other
stance
sword.
between basically the 2 trees.
Ooh,
One is
stance
really
dancing.
offensive oriented, and it's called I think it's Onslaught. And basically you're sacrificing
That looks so good.
health basically
Oh.
for damage. So you're going to receive more damage so you can give more damage. And there's an awesome give and play with that. And you're also going to
beautiful.
sacrifice
Oh,
more
shoot,
stamina
guys.
in order to do heavier tasks.
If you guys pay attention right now, like you can see that the crosshairs actually looks like it's been upgraded as well. So I don't know if that's going to be something significant or something we get to control and change. But that is a much better crosshairs. I don't know if it's weapon specific either. So many questions to be had. And as far as it goes, I see a vintage thing. Is this game worth playing? 1,000% yes. I absolutely adore New World. In fact, we get together Friday nights over on Twitch, twitch.tv/work2game2, and we play. So be a part of the Discord if you want to jump in, if you need help leveling, if you want to be running the expeditions. They just added a group finder. They just added in so much. Now, there's things that I still want to see. I don't know if this video will update it. I know Danny and a couple of others have actually gone hands-on with it, so we'll look for their videos right after this one, and then I'll be happy to answer any other questions you guys might have. And thanks, guys, for the 15 likes. Let's continue.
attacks much faster. So it's a really cool tree. And then when you use abilities from the Defiant stance, which is more defense oriented, also can be used by tanks because it has things that will draw aggro.
Hell yeah.
A lot of counter hit play. You're going to do less
Oh,
damage,
hell
but
yeah.
you're going to take less damage. And so there's a lot of things where you can block incoming attacks, and the amount of attacks that you block during a set amount of time will unleash even more damage.
Hell yeah.
I love
Really
to
cool,
hear
though.
Let's
that we
do
are
that.
thinking about tanks when we talk about these
Yeah,
trees.
we need some. They've been talking about doing some blocking
it's a really
stuff.
unique weapon. I'd love to see off tank play, and just how it gets incorporated into other people's builds. But
Well, yeah, that's the key, I think, is you can pair it because it's dex and strength with so many of our weapons. It's going to, players are going
pair
to find
well.
things we never thought of as far as ways to use this.
That's what I love. I
again,
love the build.
it's a really
the build
exciting release
system in
coming
this
up. There's
game.
a lot.
We need
there's
loadouts.
probably more, but I'm going to save that for the next update because I'm sure the Daves really want to dive in.
We really got the important stuff out of the way, which is when that's going to be headed their way, and is the greatsword included?
Yeah,
Yes,
I think it's
yes,
going to
yes,
be
yes.
great.
Yeah.
Well, and is there any other playable content included, like maybe an expedition that you want to talk about, Mike?
There is an expedition. So one of our latest expeditions, it goes along the story of the ancients and that relationship with the Romans and that Roman legion. And so it takes place in our giant pyramid known as the Ennead. Players are going to obviously group
dude.
up, and they're going to head for the Ennead expedition. And it's going to be unlike anything that you've played so far. Really cool visuals, brand new enemies, new mechanics. So we have like these sentry guards that actually roam some of the
Interesting.
halls. So
Oh, roaming
I'm
enemies,
really
perfect.
excited about it. All new loot. Can't wait for players to get in the PTR and check it out.
We'll have a lot to show on this over the, as we get closer to the release. And there's one more, well, there's a bunch of more stuff, but there's one more we're going to talk about right now that we've kind of held as a secret until now. And
Ooh.
we've heard a lot of feedback from players on our starting experience. How
Okay.
They wanted more variation in AI, more variation in the
Oh,
zones.
beautiful.
Everything to feel different, especially more variation in questing. So we've revamped the
crap.
first 25 levels of the experience. And we cannot wait to share it with everyone and get people in to see it. Again, we're going to do a much deeper dive on this next month. But our goal is to get it out there. We think we've addressed enough to make everyone think,
gosh,
wow,
that's
this
beautiful.
is awesome. Once we start validating that with players, we're going to take those learnings and apply them all the way through the entire.
Oh, that's
Questing
genius. That's
experience
one of
and
the
level of
biggest
experience. And
key things.
Another thing,
So having done like the round table with Lono from Reforged Gaming, like that's one of his key aspects. He talks about like, how does a new player return to this game? How does a returning player, like, how do you get into this game? And are they looking at doing these things? And obviously not going hands-on with this yet. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the long run. But I think that's really critical that they're taking a look at some of the core issues that a lot of people struggle with, right? How do you get in? Now, I hope that comes joined. I hope that comes joined with the idea of, cutscenes, right? I think when we talk about the story and the world from a single player perspective, not that I want this game to become a single player RPG, but when we talk about that, like a cutscene ends up being such a huge hook for a lot of players. I think Final Fantasy XIV shows this to us time and time again. And so this, I think, is absolutely exciting. And I hope it comes bundled with like new cutscenes to really kind of help introduce certain characters and things like that.
this release is really big. There's a lot here. There's a lot of stuff we haven't even talked about yet, and we can't wait to get into. But it's exciting, which is why we're devoting a couple of dev updates to it. So with that, let's switch bases and talk about territory management just a little bit.
Okay, this has been something that I've been personally questioning about, right? So to catch everybody up to speed, there's been a lot of discussion, a lot of talk, a lot of work behind the scenes, what the devs have been doing. Now, they've been very communicative, but in case you haven't been following the game like I have been, there might be things that you haven't heard or seen. So a couple of interesting points is that right now the New World servers are packed. They're jam-packed. You're going to get a queue. And the problem is that how do you scale? How do you grow? Because there are some players who want to be on a smaller server. And there's nothing wrong with playing on a smaller server, except for New World, because it does not offer cross-region, cross-server play for instance style content like OPR, which is their endgame PvP, or their 3v3 arenas, which opens up at level 20, or even their expeditions, aka their dungeons. then you end up kind of sacrificing certain content that you might want to do to play on a lower server. But they've already talked about bringing in cross-server play for all of those things, expanding on the group finder for cross-server play as well for all these things. And I think that's going to be a good thing. Now, obviously, they didn't touch on that as a part of this. They did say it would take some time to deliver that kind of style update, but I think that ultimately will help lead to a lot of health in terms of the player base. The challenge is that how does that actually impact territory management, territory control, which is very server specific. And it's a question that I even kind of offered my own thoughts, and I kind of leaned into my roots in Final Fantasy 11. And with Final Fantasy 11, you ended up having kind of a point system that was in Final Fantasy 11 PvE centric, but here in New World, it's always very PvP centric. And I think that there could be a blending of both, opening up wars and invasions to being content that people can do, and not necessarily always the be-all, end-all deciding factor of content. Because I don't know if you guys are like me, but as a dad, I'm not going to live my life based off a New World schedule. I can't do that. I don't have that ability. I could, I guess, technically do it, and then at the end of the day, like in 20 years, my kids will be like, I want nothing to do with that jerk who prioritized a game over me, right? Like, that's something that I am actively, hopefully not going to be that. I'm trying my best not to be that. But when a game says I have to be there at a certain time, that doesn't always work out. Now, occasionally it has, but that's the exception rather than the rule. So territory management has been an interesting problem, one that I actually really enjoy the concept of it, and on paper, it's interesting. The reason it's interesting is it adds that sandbox style element that you, me as a player, we're participating in something bigger than any of us. But that still has yet to be remained to be seen. And so we'll go ahead and let them talk about what they want, and then I'll also catch up on chat as well. So if you guys are watching live, be sure to tag at Ginger Prime, so that way I can make sure that if you have any specific question that I can help answer, do that, and I'll make sure that we do that at a certain kind of intervals, so that way you get the information that you guys need. And thanks for the 23 likes, you freaking legends. All right.
Dan, do you want to talk about like some of the big issues you've been hearing from players?
For sure, yeah. Since we've been live, it's been really cool to see how these systems scale. Like, I mean, we've obviously done a lot of scale testing over the years, but nothing compared to what we've seen since we've launched. Mm-hmm. There's a lot that we want to do with it. I mean, we've heard feedback loud and clear from all different kinds of players. We're kind of taking a like short-term and long-term approach. In the short term, I think we mainly want to address three key issues. Meaning the economic balancing issues that we've been hearing about.
Mm-hmm. Big problem.
Shell companies, as we're all friends here. Like, we all know they're called shell companies. It's when you create like multiple companies in order to kind of bypass certain things. We're going to address that. And then the third thing that we're going to address is, help me out here. We just talked about it.
The crafters being left out.
That's the one.
That's the one.
Almost left him out of
See,
the
I have cheat. I have a note.
There's a lot to the territory mechanics, in all seriousness. So like, there's a lot of things we want to fix, like I said. So those big three, we're gonna take action on within the next couple of releases.
Awesome.
Our goals for them are basically for the economy. We're gonna do some things to kind of spread the money around. So like right now, Everfall and Windsward, I think everybody knows, like those are the territories to own, right?
That's what you want.
The other ones are less important. So we wanted to address that, and then we also wanted to address kind of like the runaway win condition of, once you have those two territories, like you quickly just generate enough wealth to just be unstoppable. We want to fix that. We want to make it so that you can be competitive by owning like Greek water or something like that. So that's coming soon. That's coming the soonest. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to try to address shell companies in a few ways. We've been talking to players a lot, reading their feedback and actually going back and forth. We're not.
Now, I see somebody in chat I do want to address, talking about how to drain the duped max cash, etc. That actually was handled in October, November of last year. They removed 99% of all the duped, etc. items. The stuff that ended up remaining was usually logged legitimate, that somebody purchased something and they didn't want to go punish the person who didn't do anything wrong. So at the end of the day, what you're actually looking at in terms of the economy here is that owning certain lands just gives you an immense amount of wealth, where owning others don't. I hope they address the issue of where they allow for companies that don't own land to be able to also generate wealth by doing things as a company. But we'll have to see if they address that in this video.
Not going to do we're not going to do like a standard just company switching cooldown, but we're going to do something very similar to that, which hopefully won't, like, you know, if you join a company and you decide it's not for you, you'll still be able to leave. But what it will do is you'll have a cooldown on when you can join a war, and then we're going to combine that with a minimum requirement on defense. So where if you're defending your territory in a war, you're going to have 35 players. Well, I shouldn't have said the number because, you know, we don't know for sure the number. It's going to be at least 35, maybe as many as 50. But the idea being that, like, if you're defending a territory, you have to have mostly your company defending it, combined with that switching cooldown, is going to hopefully address the number one reason why people form their shell companies, which is to be able to, like, fight multiple wars in the same day.
So these changes, like, what's our goal with them? Like, is it to be more fair? Is it so everybody's got a shot at taking part in this? I think that, you know, different players have different motives for wanting to join in on it, but most of them want to win and they want to feel like they're winning. So just like, what's our motivation for these? Yeah,
because I could see that you end up building in a level of toxicity and resentment. Like, oh, okay, we're just, you know, it is an interesting problem to have. I need to think about it more. I'm curious to see what they say, but that's something I want to percolate on in the back of my head. Maybe I'll make a video on it later.
Particular changes.
Yeah, like we want to make it so that if you're a competitive company, you can still, you know, aspire to like a little empire that you're building.
Yeah.
But we don't want it to be possible for you to, like, the reason shell companies are bad is because it's obviously just a way to work around the limitation that the original system had built in, where, like, because your company has the same siege time every day for all the territories, that meant, you know, like, well, you can't fight in more than one war at the same time. So that was meant to be kind of a limiting device on the number of territories you can own. But obviously you can just defeat that by using shell companies. So we want to close that.
I think we want, I mean, at a high level, I think how we're thinking about it is we want to make it a fair environment, but still rewarding. However, not so rewarding that if you're not in this, you feel like you could never catch up and never get there, right?
Yeah.
It's owning territory is really cool and it should have some awesome rewards and be powerful, but not so much that you can just destroy everybody else, right?
Absolutely.
All this in a fair way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then with the crafting, I would add that on the crafting side, I think crafters who don't participate in the war and any of that stuff sometimes can get left out in the dark where, hey, I can't get access to a tier 5 station or this or that. So we want to make sure that they have opportunities to not be blocked by gameplay that they don't really participate in.
Yeah.
Other thing I just want to really quickly touch on, these changes are like, touch so many systems that we're taking our time with them, because the last thing we want to do is, like, step in, change something and make something worse or bring something we didn't think about. There's a lot of moving pieces here, and we have to treat them with delicate hands.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, these games are complex and massive, and you know, so, like, I appreciate that we've seen them actually establish this maturity in terms of how they roll out content. That doesn't mean that bugs don't make their way into the game, but it means that the same bugs don't make their way into the game. That's usually my litmus test for any MMO, is that, are you running into the same problem over and over again with every patch, or did you fix that issue, and then because that issue is fixed, like, were other issues that were hidden or masked behind that, do they show up, etc.? So at its core, I appreciate the level of maturity that the dev team has taken in terms of being able to bring out this kind of content at a good pace. Yet at the same time, you know, people are still going to, no matter what, be frustrated whenever they run into a bug itself. And I hope that over the course of the next year, we see that become less and less and less. I think we've seen that happen over and over again, but still people will point, you know, to a bug that particularly annoys them. For me, the friends list needs to have they need to have a pass at that, because I run into a friends list bug at least once a week where I'm trying to manage the list of people who are on my friends list itself. So now, some dude says, should I be playing New World, Destiny 2, or Guild Wars? I don't know. Honestly, the choice is really going to be up to you. All three of those games do not have a subscription, so you can actually easily kind of jump between the different ones. If you've never played New World, you're going to have a really good experience, but I play all three of those games, some dude, and they all are beautiful, especially in their own way. But I also don't end up no-lifing any of those because I like to have a little bit of variety in my life. So right now, Destiny 2 just had its new season. It's, like a lot of good content to check out. Obviously, Lightfall is a new expansion to be excited about. Guild Wars 2 just celebrating its 10-year anniversary. I think New World is especially something, if you have never played it, will be really exciting to see what happens this October. Lots of things to be excited about.
Anything else we want to talk about on territory management?
No, I think we're moving in a good direction. As you said, Scott, it's going to be slow to get there because we want to be very methodical and meticulous with those changes. But I think that this is something that players have been asking for, and we're going to deliver. So that's awesome.
Yeah,
we're going to keep investing in the systems long term, and it's been awesome to see everybody having fun with them so far.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It has that sinking. It has that like ownership.
Shifting
approach.
back to the Brimstone
a lot of drama
release.
though.
Katie, let's talk about the PTR rollout plan.
Sure. So for those not savvy to what PTR is, that's the public test realm. I know you were wondering, Willette, so glad I explained it. So similar to what we saw with the Summer Medley Fair content, Barnacles and Black Powder, Group Finder, those all hit the PTR at different times. So that we could focus our scale testing on each. We're going to continue that when it comes to the Brimstone Sands release. So we're not releasing all of the things that we just talked about at the same time. The first thing that players will see, or that we're anticipating players will see on the PTR, is that starting experience that you were talking about, Scott. So that's the first thing that they're going to see. They'll see the Great Sword during that time too. So those are the two main things that we're putting out there, along with the thousands of other changes that we put in this game that you can only find in the patch notes because we cannot recall them because we're not automatons. But then after players have had a time to help us scale test that, then we're going to introduce Brimstone Sands. So those will all be available on the PTR before we do the release in October.
And we're introducing so much change and so much new stuff that we really need the community to get in there and help us test this. We're even adding a little more time than normal to have the PTR running because we just want to make sure we find everything and have time to address it. Like, we're so excited about this release. We could really use as much help as possible testing and making sure it's not only bug-free, but fun, that we're hitting the right notes. Yes. I think is super important.
I think that's probably more important than the other bugs, which of course, like, we want to get their bug reports. But I think the thing when at least this first hits PTR, what we really want is, number one, the scale that we can't create on our own, which is individual players playing individually, not acting like bots, but going in and roughing up the build as they would normally, and then letting us know if it's fun. Is this something that you were excited to see this new content? Is this something that you have suggestions for us? Our community managers always put in those.
I cannot express how impressed I am with the devs and taking this feedback and building on that and then reporting to us on that and growing from that. One of the things that is a key critical component to any MMORPG is the level of investment that the devs have with their community. And the New World devs, I think, have really demonstrated it time and time again. You might not feel that way. Maybe you aren't really connected into these monthly updates that they have, but they are active on the forums. They're taking in that feedback. They're responding to it in a monthly, in a way, live letter to kind of sit here and kind of break down what they're hearing, what they're saying. And the answer isn't necessarily no. It usually always comes with an explanation as to kind of their thought process behind it, but that doesn't mean that they're unwilling to change. And we've seen that actually happen over and over again over the course of this year with very positive effects, with very positive, I think, reception. So when I always kind of encourage people, especially if they're on a break, it's like, keep the game installed, jump in, use the feedback mechanic, and tell them what you want, because that's going to give them a better picture and hopefully help make a better experience for all of us. I don't want them just to make the game that I want them to make. I want them to make a game that a lot of people can connect with and be excited with and go and just generally have a really freaking awesome good time.
In the forums, they put in mega threads for feedback. That's where you should put your sentiment. Put all the bug reporting, in-game feedback that goes into these models that parse it for us and put it in the right buckets for people. But if you want to give us feedback on, was this fun or not? Where do you think we could improve? What are we doing really well that you want us to double down on? It's the forums. That's the best place to let us know.
Yeah, and especially with the starting experience, because we've redone the quests, we've redone a lot of the story and lore.
Oh, wow.
All of the architecture you're going to see is been changed. The AI is
Holy
different.
crap.
So are we hitting the mark? Is it getting where you want it? And if so, please tell us that. But even more importantly is where we're missing, like Katie said. That's what we can action on the most. So that would be helpful.
Yeah, so join us in the PTR, everybody.
That's
This
going
was
to be
a
fun.
fun,
We're
different
going to be
kind of
spending some
approach
time
to
in
the
that
dev
PTR.
update, so I really appreciate y'all coming and helping with it. Can't wait till October with the Brimstone release, and we'll see you all in September with another dev update.
And being that September's right around the corner, not that much longer to wait. Now let's see if Danny got his video posted, because I know he was watching that over here. Is he still playing it, or is he talking, podcasting there? Okay, we'll come back to that. Let's see here. Danny. Boom, 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 boom. All right, 1 second. Let's see if I or did I misspell it? DAEH. There we go. Let's see here. This is from 59 minutes ago. New World's Brimstone Sands is insane. So this is, about an hour ago. Holy crap, he's got a lot of videos. He's got the dungeon gameplay. We're not going to do that one. Heart Gem Ruins. What in the world is this? All right, guys, let's check this out. Here is a link to Danny's videos as well, and then we will link and stuff in that, and we'll talk about it. As well. See here, mix this game up in this game running on your PC. If you haven't tried GeForce Now, Mick, if your PC isn't able to handle it, now I run on a 3080. I see somebody saying like the FPS drops down to 30. I don't know. I wonder if that's your GPU or your CPU, because I usually run it at 60 to 120 on mine, but we'll have to see. I haven't had any performance issues running it on Steam Deck, running it on my PC. The only issue we have in Steam Deck was with the current update. It seemed to break the login perspective. But Rune System New World Ultimate Abilities. Let's see what we got here. Oh, I got ads. All right, hold on. Let me switch the to here. Boom, boom, boom.
So
Ad free.
I'm invited to London to go and experience Brimstone Sands and take a quick look at the Greatsword and what else is new in New World when this new update drops. So in this particular video, I just wanted to give you a quick look at what is called the new rune system. Think of it as like an ultimate ability that is separate to your 3 abilities that you can have for each particular weapon. I didn't get a chance to use all of them. We had a limited time. Some of them are really cool, and they are really going to have an impact on combat in New World. I think both PvE and PvP, and I'm sure you guys are going to come up with some really creative ways how to use them.
I'm excited about this.
So as you can see here, we have an Omega box of runes, so we can basically test them all out.
Let's pause it.
Once you get your
Greater Cannon Blast rune. He's looking at the Survivor Cannon Blast rune. Something's hidden behind here, so we got some Cannon Blast ones. Greater Detonate rune, a couple ones. Then you have Grasping Vines rune, the Heretic's Fall rune,
runing game on the
Stone Form rune. Interesting. So like 1, 2, 3, like 4, and 5 abilities.
live servers. You want to put the rune in the G spot.
The G spot.
And essentially the way it's going to work is when you are dealing damage or when you're taking damage, this rune will essentially charge up over time. Once it's charged up over time,
that's
you can
awesome.
use that rune as your ultimate ability. So that's it. So that is the basics around the rune system in New World. I'll leave.
Just brought out a huge freaking cannon. And yeah, Danny is a cool guy. We're actually going to be doing a podcast tomorrow morning here on the channel. It's already scheduled, so if you guys want to tune in, we'll be talking about this update and more. So just note that's happening. That holy crap, guys! Ultimate abilities driven off of runes. That's, oh my gosh, build complexity is just gotten even better. Please talk about loadouts.
Leave you with a little bit of footage to finish off. As always, if you like the video, drop a like for me, drop a subscribe, and check out the channel for some more Brimstone content.
Yeah, guys, like, favorite, subscribe, share. Again, I have Danny's link. We'll be doing that. So he just has some gameplay of that. Okay, so there's no more information on it. Let's continue to see what else he's got posted. Brimstone Sands revealed. Oh, let me. Don't know if this is copyrighted music. Probably getting claimed. All right, so this is the new zone for Brimstone Sands. So that's the entrance to the new expedition, aka dungeon. So you got the great sword. So this looks like a city. This is one of the things that a lot of people have talked about and what they want. They want like cities. They want like bigger things. And it seems like even some of the current, forts, the current I guess settlements are being upgraded to kind of have a bigger, deeper approach to it as well. So you can see here the pyramid influence and the Roman influence. So this looks to be a very Egyptian and very Egyptian and very Roman influence to this area. So there's probably entrance into the expedition. A bunch of people rocking some great swords because why not? So as we learned from the dev update that there's going to be kind of a damage build, and you have a stance dancing that can happen with the greatsword, and then you have a tanking build, and one of the things that the damage build does is like you sacrifice some of your life, so it feels very Dark Knight. So this releases in October. The so the PTR should be going up probably here in the next couple of days. So we'll actually be able to go hands-on with it, be able to explore with it, be able to like put out some build guides and things like that earlier on. So I'm excited to explore that. Some new enemy variations and types. We see the scorpions. They showed a bunch of really cool looking enemies and NPCs. Yeah, it would make sense that there would be wolves. A little PvP action. It looks like they moved the combat indicator into the life bar as opposed to like on its side. So we're already seeing some other big visual UI adjustments. I like how they had the code for the footage in case anybody leaked it. Oh, look at that scorpion boss, man. You got new, like, it has little bars on that, so it looks like they've definitely segmented the enemy's life bar into, multiple little bars to kind of get a better idea. But it looks like that was maybe for the... We're also apparently getting like PvE and PvP leaderboards or stuff like that. Yeah, they did move the combat indicator into the life bar. He's got a new rune ability. They said if they're ever going to add in mounts, that they want to have it as a really interesting system. And my feedback was like, take a look at Guild Wars 2 and how they manage mounts. But they do not have any kind of ETA on mounts. I don't think the game actually needs mounts at all. It's actually really easy to get around. Oh, his G's ready. Is he going to use it? He gets knocked down. What does G do? What's his ultimate do now? I wonder what G does. I wonder if it's like an auto res or something like that. Like if you fall and you get beat, you can just self res. Holy crap! If you can self res. Oh wait. Okay, he didn't have it up. Never mind. Strength and Dex is what Greatsword scales with. Yeah, level 60 doesn't look like he's getting experience. That's one thing I want to see in the game is a level 60 to have like experience to go into like your gypsum. Okay, yeah. So bosses have these more If you look at the golden ones, they've got the little like segmented life bars now. All right, there's a circle on the ground. Interesting. Don't know if that means anything. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Have a good day at work, Mick. Oh, baby. I wonder what that ultimate ability does. I'm liking the design of some of these new enemies. They look really cool. Oh, hello. Oh, what's this? Stone cutting. New gems. There we go. Nice. Very nice. All right, let's see what else we got here. Brimstone Sands is insane. It's 23 minutes. Let's see here. And then we got exclusive New World lead developer interview. So I'm going to have to check that out as well.
Welcome back to another newer video. So before you get bored, before you click away,
that's true.
this is essentially my first
under this account
video of Brimstone Sands. Yes, I've got to play it. Yes, I've got to try the greatsword. Yes, I played it with Baggins. So in August, Baggins and I and a couple of others got invited to a sort of small event in London where we essentially got to try Brimstone Sands. We got to record some content, we got to ask some questions, and it was a really cool little event. So yeah, essentially this video is going to be my first impressions and genuine feelings on the update. It's pretty good. Now, they haven't paid me to say that. I essentially stream New World pretty much every day. It's kind of, I don't know, I do genuinely still like the game. There is still a shitload of problems with it. We all know that. But it is still very good. And this update, I think, will pleasantly surprise most of you.
Oh, so Scenic, the massive update, Brimstone Sands coming in October. PTR should be going live here maybe in a couple of days. And yeah, great sword, ultimate abilities coming into play, new gems, reworking the starting experience, adding in updates to territory control and so much to the combat itself. Like, it is massive. I think essentially it's not just going to bring so much life into it. You're also going to see a massive PR push. See advertisements. It's going to be kind of the 1 year come back to New World kind of aspect, and so that's going to be something really big. The challenge is going to be, though, is the servers are already filled up. Like, people are playing and there's already queue times. So the question is then, how do you scale back without having to, you know, constantly be juggling between this? And so we can see a bunch of new enemies here. It just looks amazing, guys. Got a Roman and Egyptian influence.
First impressions of the update. What essentially happened in the event was we got there. It was a super cool event, super cool location, sort of down in the depths of an underground sort of cellar in New World. In London. It sounds kind of weird, but it was super cool. And the first thing that happened at this event was we got shown a presentation. Now, I thought this was just going to be Brimstone, but it's not. There is updates happening across Eternum.
That's so important.
Some are actually pretty insane. We'll start off with Brimstone. So Brimstone is essentially the new area that's coming to New World. It is roughly three times the size of the other zones that we have.
Oh, that's massive.
My first sort of impression of Brimstone was when I saw the cinematics, when I saw the first glimpses of what they've done, what they've changed, what they've created. I was genuinely surprised. I think the biggest and most sort of jaw-dropping moment was when we saw the town for the first time. This, typically in New World we've had a copy and paste across all the towns. This was the first time we've seen a brand new,
massive
exciting
town
feeling, around a new town. It's completely different from
whole
anything
city
we've seen
basically
before. And it looks huge. So the town itself, theming wise, it's absolutely incredible. To be fair, along with the rest of Brimstone, I think we can all agree across
That's
New World,
gorgeous,
all of
guys.
the landscape team, the design team, the music team, perfect. Like every time, it looks brilliant.
Yeah, they do a great job.
And that
They do a
carries on with
freaking
Brimstone.
amazing job.
Brimstone's got a lot of cool sort of quirky elements to it, lots of cool statues. There's even a bath you can, like an old Roman bath that you can go and sit in and sort of chill out on the side. So a little bit of a role play element there. But again, it's just absolutely huge. And in the distance, you can see the pyramid. The pyramid is where the expedition is, and we'll come on to that later. But just as you're running around, this town feels like it's been built for a large community. Now, we know that when this drops on live servers, lots of people are going to head there and lots of people can be exploring it and taking it over. But it definitely feels like it's been built for a larger scale player base, which is really cool. Hopefully that's leading on to something in the future. Hopefully I want to see bigger servers and larger.
One of the things I think they've talked about, like originally in their plans, is to get the game to scale up to like 10,000 concurrent on the server. My personal hope is that we get to actually start to see them start to scale that up with this launch in this new zone. Otherwise, they're going to run into the same problems that they ran into at launch. Because if you end up getting a bunch of people excited and coming back, waiting in queues, being frustrated by that,
larger populations of players coming back to the game. But yeah, in general, the theming of Brimstone is absolutely stunning, and everything about it looks fantastic. Now, I think sort of the story behind this is, essentially it's ancient Egyptians, and they've sort of left their mark on the land. And then as you sort of explore into the deserts and explore into like sort of the areas around the main town, you can start to see remnants of like the old Roman Empire. So I'm assuming at some point, the Egyptians came, the Romans were here. The Romans are now, as far as I can tell, mostly corrupted. So kind of carrying on the theme of, the rest of the Eternum is they've essentially turned bad. But yeah, Brimstone Sands itself, from a visual standpoint, beautiful, and I think you guys are really going to have an amazing time running around.
This looks
I know
incredible.
I did. It was a real nice change from what we've seen before. Different vibes being in the sand. It was really cool. There was even sort of like a Roman. It looked like a theater made for like plays, but the first thing in my head was, that is a dueling arena. That is going to be awesome. So I'm hoping we get to kind of play around with things like that. And yeah, that was kind of my sort of initial vibes on the way the town looks and the way Brimstone Sands looks. Now something else that came up in the cinematic that David played us was Monarch's Bluff and Everfall.
Yeah.
My jaw dropped and I was just like, and I think I said, what the fuck? Monarch's Bluff has had a complete overhaul. There has been a new story introduced. There's been just take a look at this.
Yes. Look how incredible that looks, guys.
As you can see, Monarch's Bluff has turned from this sort of old rickety wooden fort into an absolute castle. Wicked castle. Now there is a story behind it as well. They haven't just plonked a castle in the game. There is sort of a King Arthur storyline that follows on with Monarch's Bluff.
King Arthur, baby.
The way it is now.
He's been teased. He's been being teased in the lore.
Following the feedback they've been getting from what we were told is that they're really going to revamp the starting feeling for people.
Good.
Obviously, that doesn't mean too much for us as regular players. However,
no, it's going to be important.
Looking forward to hopefully new people coming back to the game who will just restart their characters. We'll get to see all this stuff for the first time and just have a really wicked first impression. So Monarch's Bluff is now a bloody castle. Not just any castle, King Arthur's fucking castle. It's super cool, and this sort of change again. It's not content related in terms of things that we can do. It's not bug fixing. It's nothing like that. It's just a visual change. I guess there's content in terms of like the storyline and stuff, but you know, for me, changes like this really make places we're going to be visiting throughout the game.
I wonder if we'll see like
unique,
jumping puzzles or anything like that brought into the game.
The next one,
jumping puzzles are just some fun.
So it wasn't just Monarch's Bluff that they changed. Everfall has had a complete makeover as well. A place you would have all
I love this
visited by
evolution.
now.
Thanks guys
And
for
we
the 42
do.
likes, by the way.
Most of us
Appreciate
see
that.
Everfall and Windswood as, you know, the capital cities, the main towns of the servers. I know that other places are making money now, but these two places, they're still center of the map, and you know. Anyway, long story short, Everfall has had a makeover. Check this out.
Yeah, I love Everfall. I have a house in Everfall, so I wonder if that's going to end up being different. Oh man, that is still beautiful though. I was hoping this would be an upgrade that we managed, but okay, here's the housing. Here's the housing. That's what it is now. Wow. In a way, this starts to give me kind of Node vibes from Ashes of Creation. I don't know if anybody else is getting that, but clearly not. If it's not player driven, then it's just a visual upgrade.
As you can see,
Oh my gosh,
similar
guys.
vibes to Monarchs. Not like content changes per se, but insane visual changes. I know it's just the wall and it's just bricks, but
Oh, I'm so excited.
you know, after playing the game for a year pretty much solidly, seeing a place and a town that I've visited so many times and spent so many hours in,
That's going to help. That's going to
it's
give
just
new fresh
super
paint.
cool, you know. It's just really cool. I can't really put my finger on it why I'm so
wonder if
excited
it's
about
got
it.
a different
It's
layout
just
at all.
bricks, but it's genuinely something that I'm like, oh shit, this is cool. I'm watching it as I'm talking to you here. You know, the old townhouse has gone from sort of rickety old wooden, olden day buildings to something slightly more modern. And you know, I don't know how or why I felt this way, but you guys know I love black sails, and it reminded me of sort of it's not a port town, but like a port town that the pirates sailed to in old England, and it gave me that sort of vibe. And you know, I was just like, yeah, this is awesome. And it just gave me sort of a very good initial first impressions. So visually,
That's so cool.
Everfall,
I wonder if the big
Monarch's
houses now have a
Brimstone,
fourth floor,
all looking
because it looks like it
insane.
out from the
Some big
outside.
changes there,
And the
it's
scale
not
of these
just
houses always felt
those
so immersive.
They've also changed and introduced some old POIs. So you would remember this is the old graveyard that you would have gone to doing some quests early on. It's now been turned into sort of a Covenant faction headquarters. Again,
What faction?
Marauders. This is by the looks of things out the back of Everfall Fort. Has gone from I don't know, it's just some scenery to now this insanely cool Marauders POI, which is going to be sort of Marauders headquarters.
Okay, so faction
It's
based,
just
like kind
cool.
of points
Again,
of interest, etc.
Visually fantastic.
interesting.
I don't know.
Covenant,
if any
thank
more
you very much,
content
Kippy.
sort of following on from these being here, maybe
So
the
every
sort of
like faction kind of
quests,
having maybe their own
been expanded and have changed a little bit, but
headquarters for faction
these
quests, like he
visual
was just
changes,
kind
I
of
think, will
talking
give us
about. That'd be
current
wild.
Players, sort of a huge sense of change, even though we haven't had shed loads of change. It's like visually very impactful.
That's
One thing
that's
they have said
exciting.
and sort of confirmed is that there's, I know I mentioned it earlier, but the starting areas are going to sort of change, and your sort of starting vibes as you start to play through New World are going to change. So more interactive NPCs. I don't have footage of this, I'm afraid. So more interactive NPCs. They're supposed to move again. Something that has been done 10 years ago in games, but it's not in New World yet. So more interactive NPCs. People that are moving. Lots more.
Oh, that'd be
sort of
sweet, Deadly
talking
Dad.
Things
Deadly
happening.
Dad talking about.
Something that I loved from Guild.
Imagine there being a capture the flag open world style PvP. I think that's something that would be really massive and a big improvement. Also, I think within the zones themselves that kind of have like an active hotspot zone for open world PvP with various different rewards, etc. I think that would help kind of really funnel people who want that kind of content into the different zones, and then that I think that would be a wonderful experience overall. That's feedback that I keep putting in, and if you guys agree, you should put that feedback in too. Devs are listening.
was jumping puzzles. There's essentially jumping puzzles in this now.
Yes.
So you move around Windswood. I know we've got some footage here of Windswood.
That's gonna be
You
cool.
can see the old ruins here. You can actually climb on top of that and sort of get some loot or reward once you get to the top.
Hopefully some
Again, nothing
achievements or
sort of
something like that.
Absolutely crazy, but really, it's more interactive and it's a bit more exciting early on. So
Oh,
developing
wow.
in this world that people are getting to
That
see.
is a beautiful
Now, one
castle.
of the big ones for me was obviously the Great Sword. I had all these plans when I got invited to this event. I was like, right, tick, 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 tick. I need to make sure I get these things done, get this content recorded. I kid you not, the moment I got into the game, it all went out the window. I picked up the Great Sword. I looked at like 2 skills and I was like, poof, just everything on that left skill tree, and just started, I don't know, hitting things. It felt really nice to hold. It felt really nice to play. It's kind of like the Warhammer. Felt maybe a little bit larger than life. Didn't need to be that big, but it was pretty cool to see. Our sort of first impressions of the Great Sword.
Oh, that
I
looks
think it's
so
probably,
good.
On the build I was playing, slightly overtuned.
Next
And I think
hit
you need to
critical.
kind of have that with
Interesting.
New weapons, so you can get some genuine feedback and then sort of balance it down rather than be down and balance it up. I think they've gone slightly over, and maybe they're going to be balancing it down. I could be wrong. I only got a chance to play it against Scythe, who was playing in light, and there was a moment that I sort of did a couple of combos, and then boom, gave him the old one shot, which was cool, and it made me feel good because I was in heavy, and yeah. For the last few
So what he's talking about though, also right now in the current meta, it's so much better to be in light and be able to dodge roll as opposed to like block or being heavy, etc. The devs have said that they're actually working to address that, so we probably get a feel for that here in the PTR when it goes live. And I know I'm personally looking forward to it because I tend to end up being more of a blocker than a dodger. But I've had to kind of change my gameplay because dodging is so much more valuable than blocking. And I can't wait to see how that plays out. And the fact that he said that he's actually in heavy and did a duel and was able to be victorious actually gives me hope, because in my mind, especially in terms of heavy, you are taking more hits, but there needs to be some kind of trade-off. There needs to be some kind of value there. And yeah, the Roman theme and the Egyptian theme here is exciting to see them blend these two together.
months, I've been dubbing it Dex World, because if I play heavy or if I play anything but light, I'm just getting my butt kicked. So it kind of gave me a bit of a reassurance that heavy's not completely dead moving forward. And yeah, I don't want to comment too much on this because my knowledge and my expertise in kind of builds and weapons is pretty low. I'm pretty much a big tanky boy, and I've only just started to play with sort of higher DPS builds. But the Greatsword felt good, it was fluid, and I think it's going to be a great addition to the New World. So a couple more things. I'm not going to bore you too long. I don't want to have this video go on too long, but a few other things that we noticed while we're in the game. So runes, this is absolutely massive. I'm essentially calling it the ultimate ability.
Oh my gosh, yes.
What you get is there is
Well, obviously, because they're only showing us a handful, and they may only launch with a handful right now, but this also opens up even more build opportunities, more variation. This has me beyond excited, right? Beyond excited for it. Looks like these are also marked as tier 3, and we know that there's more higher tiers within the game. Now, I only have seen him do the cannon one, and I wonder what these other abilities do. We'll see if he covers it.
a new ability, essentially. So
Controller guide refresh coming soon, guys.
Inventory,
Controller guide refresh coming
space where
soon.
you can drop in what is called a rune. These runes give you another ability, and there is a variety of abilities that you can do. One of them was pulling out a massive cannon, firing this mega cannon. I think I recorded it did like 3k damage. Again, I was on heavy, and that was fighting like just a random mob.
Yes.
So it can do a bit of damage. The other one was rooting people. I think you could root people and sort of lock them down. Another one, I flew up in the air, dropped down, and did some damage. Again,
Oh, that's
like a
so cool.
terrible
Okay, that's
content
the-
creator. I didn't
the
read all
wings.
the descriptions. I put it on. I was like a little kid playing.
I
like,
love the
"This is
UI element
awesome."
updates. The
Used
UI looks good.
abilities. Was like whoa, and then moved on to the next one. So not really much formal information here. So do forgive me. We'll check it out on the PTR together. I'll
Hell
be there.
yeah.
I'll be playing. You're welcome to drop in stream, and we can chat about it. It'll be great fun. There are new gems that are coming to the game. So essentially what I think these are sort of slightly more powerful gems than what we can get now. And I think these are done through the stone cutting table, which will sort of take, I don't know, an amethyst gem that we have now, and maybe it does 20%.
Yeah,
Do
this
not
does
quote
look like
me
an
on
upgrade.
this. Which will now, when you get the sort of ultimate gem, you now can have 30% on it. I do need to do my research into this, but there are new gems, well, there are new versions of gems coming to the game. And finally, we'll just touch on the expedition. We didn't get a chance to run the full thing, but Baggins, Scythe, and I, well, we got together as a trio. Baggins the legend was healing. Scythe was on like a million.
I'm gonna skip his.
So I'll just sort of give you some final thoughts.
His expedition,
Extremely
then we'll go to
grateful
the thoughts.
to be invited to the event. You know, there wasn't many of us there, and it was.
I want to kind of keep that for me later.
Content. Meet Baggins,
want to experience it.
Meet David, and just experience something before a lot of other people have experienced it. That was epic. I've invested a lot of time and energy into New World, as you guys know. Do I think Brimstone Sands is gonna save New World? I genuinely don't think it needs saving. One of the big questions I asked was, is New World able to sort of fund itself with the current player base? There wasn't really a formal answer, but the answer was New World's going to continue to be developed, and that's great to hear. So whether there's 5,000 players or whether there's 200,000 players concurrent, I don't think at this point it matters. They're still working on developing the game. But will it save New World? Will it bring people back? I genuinely think it will bring people back.
It'll bring people back.
But I don't think there's enough there to keep people entertained for the long term.
Right.
There's some really cool stuff in here. There's some really cool changes. There's new content. There's new mobs. There's the brand new scenery. It looks fucking wicked. But I think the biggest thing for me is the wars are a big part of the game. Companies can get very rich, and players can get very rich on the back of holding territories. But actually going to war and practicing for war and the whole sort of influence race thing is sort of been left behind, and I think that really needs to be looked at and worked on for people to kind of have this end game content sort of reachable and not sort of locked behind, you know, being in a company per se. And when I say that, I won't go too deep into this, but you know, pre-war PvP missions need to be really engaging for the whole faction, not just sort of the company. So something that's really engaging and really fun. I think in terms of repeatable content, which is what I think will essentially keep people playing the game, OPRs sort of haven't had a look in at the moment, and they need to have new maps. It needs to be sort of streamlined a bit better, maybe a different game mode. The OPR just needs to be looked at and improved, especially the scoring system. I think expeditions are great as they are. I know a lot of you guys want to see larger expeditions, like essentially raids, you know, maybe a 10 or 20 man raid. That isn't coming anytime soon, but expeditions
I would think
themselves, they are repeatable.
I think if they do that, it would come along lines an expansion. And they have the open world raid with the Midgard raid and the chest runs, etc. So there are, in my mind, there are raids, but I think I would like a UI element in which that you can group many people together and participate in that specifically. And I'm wondering if we'll see a new kind of area open up in the open world, because I like instance content, but I don't want them to abandon open world content. Open world content is actually the thing I prefer more than instance content 9 times out of 10. Instance content's great when you really want that challenge. We really want to have that, like the fights designed with the understanding of who's in it. I love that it's bring the class, not the player aspect, so that it's like you want to think about the enemies that you're going into and how you're going to approach the fight. I really appreciate that they do that in this game. But if they ever do add in raids, I think that would come along with like either a paid expansion or what they would consider a massive expansion release.
But I don't think there's enough that kind of changes. Maybe when we get the leaderboards, it will make it a bit more competitive, and I think that could be really good. And that is sort of what I personally want, and I think maybe a lot of you guys want, is that ability to kind of move up. When you have no sort of benchmark to move up on or people to kind of compete against, it's not really exciting. So maybe when leaderboards come out, expeditions will be really cool and good fun.
Also, they'll add in a lot of extra drama because people will people, you know, if anybody's ever known. But I think that it's better to have and let people be people than not have and be like, all right, well, what am I really doing here?
3v3 arenas, great fun, but again, needs to sort of have the leaderboards behind it. And I guess, finally, the one thing that I really wanted to see was sort of dynamic world events that change as we go. So there's a corrupted Thorpe spawning here. Everyone sort of goes to it and has a bit of a brawl. But I know I'm waffling on a bit here. So in short, will Brimstone bring back more players? Yes, I genuinely think it will. Will it keep them playing it concurrently moving forward? I don't think it will, until we sort of have a bit more love for that repeatable content. And yeah, I'm not going to waffle on anymore. If you've made it this far, holy shit, I love you, and I appreciate you hanging
Danny's the
around,
best.
watching it, getting my opinion. I think I could have gone a bit deeper. I could have been a bit more concise with my answers, but I just freeballed this. I just made it up as I went along.
You did great, Danny. Guys, be sure to go subscribe to Danny.
I appreciate you staying here, and if you haven't,
I'll post his link again here as well. That's the link for that specific video. He's got other videos. I'm gonna let you guys go check out his other thoughts on that specifically. But it's interesting because this is something I've saved for a long time. Thanks, guys, also for the 53 likes. Before we wrap up this post, as there's just going to be a lot to break down. Danny and I are sitting down tomorrow morning. We're going to talk about the Brimstone Sands, really kind of dive into these questions that he has. He really likes PvP. I love PvP. I also love PvE. I think essentially this will bring a lot of people back. There's going to be some challenges with that with servers. Hopefully we see some addressing of those issues in terms of that, because right now servers are filled. You are going to hit a queue if you're trying to log into the game. So that's a good thing, but that's also a bad thing. And that's something going to be able to address. Now, they're going to bring people back. What's going to keep people coming back, yes, is repeatable content, but it's also a promise of a future that your time in this game and the investment you make in your character will be worth it in the long run. And so the devs have to then deliver that. They have to communicate that with the player base, and they said that they will. Like what the fall update, the Brimstone Sands does, is it delivers unto us the promise of the roadmap all the way through the fall. And then obviously we're going to get the content. We got way more than expected. The whole freaking Ultimates, massive excitement change. I cannot wait to go hands on the PTR, give you guys more breakdowns and thoughts. I have pinned in the thing for my Ginger World channel, where I'm going to go post kind of a video up over on that channel next. If you guys are interested in that, go check out that channel. It is 100% New World focused. So that's what you're going to get. You're going to get all the news, guides, and more on it. But in this regards, there's still so many things that I want to see in the game. I'm going to keep providing that feedback, and I hope that they're going to continue to deliver on it. It sounds like they will. They've fully committed it, but it's a question of trust. The reason why people are so obsessed with the player numbers is it always comes down to, will the game persist on? And there's still so much more that we have yet to see and understand. So see chat saying September 28th festival of the campfire, a great campfire festival. Don't forget. I need more information. I think that's actually a player-driven event, right? Just like the fishing event we ran was, etc. So the update is going to be dropping here in October. We don't have an official date. PTR should be going live, so we'll be able to go hands-on with a greatsword, be able to check out Brimstone Sands, be able to check out the new Ultimates. It's going to be a really exciting time, and I'm very excited to see more player-driven content. So if you wouldn't mind, make sure you hit me up on Discord with that information, so I can also promote that and plug that. Because I think that's going to be fun. Player-driven content, I think, is one of the things that is a real strength of the New World, and that's where I really hope to see it continue to evolve and to grow. But guys, that's it. I wanted to react to this. I want to kind of get, this was just me absorbing the information, being absolutely excited about it as a avid New World player, as somebody who absolutely adores this game and who absolutely thinks that it has a bright future ahead of it. I'm rooting for it. I think that's the best thing we can do. Lots of really great stuff happening. And thanks, guys, so much for being here. Thanks for hanging out. And Danny just got here. Look at your beautiful face. Guys, just like I said, be sure to go check out all his videos. We watched 2 of yours, dude. I can't wait to freaking collab with you tomorrow on this. And we skipped a couple things. I didn't want to spoil the expedition thoughts that you had. But holy freaking crap, great sword and the runes, dude. The runes. And then obviously the change of the world. Oh my God. So tomorrow is going to be great. Please go follow Danny over on his YouTube channel. Please go follow him over on his Twitch channel. Danny, like, I've been posting your link. If you want to post your link to your Twitch as well. Awesome, dude. Like, I am so glad that we have him within the community to help represent this amazing game and his passion for this and his history with Guild Wars. Guys, he is an MMO player. He's a PvP guy. He is a pirate legend. I really hope that you guys check him out and more. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna record some of my thoughts and answer kind of the question that Danny was asking in this video. Will this game be saved? And I agree with him 100% that New World doesn't need to be saved. But it does need some things, and we can't wait to see what happens. So thanks, guys, for all of you who have subbed over there to him. It really means the world to me. Come back tomorrow. We're going to sit down and talk about this. And hell yeah, dude. This is freaking great, man. This is so good. So I'm going to wrap up stream, guys. Thanks for being here. Hopefully you all have a wonderful day. Hopefully I'll see you next time. But until then,